Oregon State team here today. We got Coach Scott Rueck, we got Tiara Bolden, and we got Kennedie Shuler. Welcome, Coach. We'll start off with you. The usual expectations for the season. You're picked to finish number 1 in the conference.
Well, it was just that it's a preseason pick, and we were really fortunate, to have 9 players return, all 9 that could have chose to. And in this day and age, that's obviously
I know, yes, there
one of 20-ish schools in the country to have that happen. And so when there's consistency in this day and age, I think everybody recognizes that. Of course, if there's a baseline of talent, that that consistency can lead to a positive season. And I love the additions as well, and I think people probably are aware of that. And so, but they are just, the expectations are what they are. The preseason polls are what they are. It's just a fun thing to talk about. But nothing changed. I mean, we're going to have to grind.
Yeah.
We haven't done anything yet this year.
Gives us a nice first question to start with. So.
Definitely. In talking about bringing everyone back and not having any transfers out, I wanted to go to you guys and maybe start with Kennedy. How does that, being one of the few teams that is not losing any transfers, how does that kind of speak to the culture you guys have and just what you guys have built in terms of off the court chemistry and things like that?
Yeah, for sure. Culture in our program is top tier. Like, that's what we focus on the most. And we all love each other dearly. You'll probably hear that a lot today. But, yeah, it's going to be great that we get to all be together again this year. Having a year under our belt of all of us playing together is going to be very beneficial.
And you guys are going to the Paradise Jam. I'm going to ask you, Tiara, did you ask Coach to do anything fun? I mean, you're going to have a lot of competition. You've got Virginia Tech, Vandy, BYU, so it's a tough bracket, if you will. But you going to do anything fun?
I mean, I would ask to go on the jet skis. However, I'm banned from that. So, I mean, I'm just happy to be there. I'm excited to be on the beach. It's just been a while.
Awesome. And Coach, now being the second year in the conference, does that help at all in terms of, maybe knowing the travel routines, having faced all the teams? Is it a little bit easier coming in and kind of having a year under your belt in terms of the expectations?
Well, there's familiarity now for sure. The jet ski comment got me. I'm sorry. She actually is banned from jet skis, which is really funny. I'm glad you hit on that. That's great. That's good insight right there. And so last year, there was a charm to it. For a West Coast person like I am, lived in Oregon my whole life, to go into some of those venues I'd never been in before was interesting. It was fun just to see, different styles of play, different coaches, different venues, and there was a cool charm to it. This year, of course, we've been there, to all of them. We know what to expect in each, and there's probably an ease there, that will, I don't know, a calming effect, I guess, but you still got to play a great team, on their home floor, no matter where you go, and that's when you get down to it, that's always a challenge.
So you've been very successful, Division III National Championship, Coach of the Year, this, that, and the other. Tell me what your non-negotiables are that leads to you being so successful and the type of young ladies that you recruit.
Well, there has to be, that baseline of talent, and so you go out and you watch, or you hear about somebody and you study them, and so right off, it just, would this person enjoy the level that we're competing at and that we want to compete at from a competitive standpoint? Do they have the physical tools, the skill set? And then once that's determined, it's all character based after that. Is this somebody that would enhance the locker room? Because as Kennedy said, culture is number one with me. Division III taught me that. And where there are no scholarships, for all those 14 years of doing that, I needed to find a way to create an environment that families would pay for, that would go into debt to be a part of, and that puts character at a premium. And then I realized it makes a great place, a great environment to work in every day, when you love the people that you're around and you want to invest in them and they appreciate, through just a high level of maturity at that age.
Sure.
They know that they're part of something special and they want to enhance it. And so that is the hack for me. It's all character based. And when you walk into our gym each day, it is the place to be. You're with great individuals, 1 through 15 or 1 through 14 or 13. It doesn't matter. So a team that has that level of maturity and that character is going to reach their potential more often than they want.
And Tiara, I'll come to you and then maybe Kennedy. Coming off of last year, making that run in the WCC tournament, getting some NCAA tournament experience, bringing people back from that team, including you guys, how does that help Is it just kind of fresh start, 0-0, or do you feel like that experience kind of gives you momentum that can help you into this season?
I mean, that was last year. We achieved so much stuff than at first like we anticipated. So I'm just so excited to be able to have this team again, so that way we can start from the ground, like from ground zero. Just because, yes, last year was last year, and now that we're building, we know what the expectation is to get there, and we know what it takes, and we know that this year is going to be a little bit harder. So this is just an opportunity for us to start fresh and hit the ground running.
So you got an 18-game schedule this year for the first time. What are your thoughts on that?
That's what I'm used to, and so I like that number. My preference is to start conference after Christmas. I just think there's a progression that a team needs without it being disrupted with the pressure of a conference game. So as you're becoming a team, and it allows coaches to experiment a little bit, and you build the momentum through November and December, getting ready, for that post-Christmas conference first game and journey that always is. That 18 is kind of the perfect number, I think, if you can manage it.
There you go.
And Coach, in terms of like strengths and weaknesses, style of play, things like that, are there any ways where you see this year's team maybe being like similar or different to last year's team?
I think we have a chance to be very similar. I like our acquisition. We have size, in the post, and that was going to be the question mark. How will you, replace Sela and Kelsey, two veteran bigs that had such a huge role for us. I feel like we've done that. Certainly we're going to have to grow together, as a group. They're new to us. But I think that they have the ability to be formidable at the rim. And, my style's always been, dominate around the paint. We've always had big teams over the years and a lot of size on both ends of the floor, protect the rim, and then, do your thing when you've got the ball and play inside out. And I think this team has the opportunity to do that.
You guys remember that. Do your thing when you have the ball. So the international flavor, is that a philosophy? Is that, how you think you can best compete? Where does that come from?
Yeah, a little bit of both. We've had a lot of success with international students over the years. Corvallis is a great home away from home, and it's, 100%. It works. And I think when you travel around the world, there's a maturity in that human. To be away from home that far, that long, you just grow up quick, and you are very grateful for what you have, and that's kind of just creates a beautiful relationship. And so I've learned to embrace that, for one, through the conference. Chaos is probably the best word for it, that we've experienced. That has been an avenue for us, to bring talent to Corvallis that can help sustain us, through all the uncertainty that we've experienced. And so it's just kind of the way it's worked out, the best players that we can find,
Sure.
in many cases over those last couple of years, especially have been international. And it's been kind of beautiful to watch. And so 10 out of 15 this year, I think 7 different countries and fill our roster, and amazingly, that's such a diverse group of people and their cultural backgrounds. The blend of characters, it's just, they're like a family already, and so it's been remarkable to watch. Last year was the same.
Awesome. Well, Kennedie, Tiara, Coach, good luck to you this season. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I knew you guys were. I knew you guys
Appreciate
would
that.
like this. So,
Appreciate that.
all right, in 3, 2, 1. Okay, welcome back to the West Coast Conference Media Day. I'm Helen Williams. This is Calvin Wetzel. We've got Coach Malia Goodenbour. We've got Kennedie Shuler. How'd I do?
Yeah.
All right, and Olivia Williams. That's easy because my last name's Williams. So, welcome, ladies. Welcome, welcome. We're glad to have you here, Coach. Let's just talk about expectations for this year.
Well, we've got 11 new players and 13 total, 11 new. Our 2 returners are coming off injuries and didn't play last year. So, you know, in one sense, the sky's the limit. And in another sense, we're really just trying to define some expectations. Now, this is probably the first year since my 3rd year at USF that we've had this big of a group of newcomers. So they're great kids. They work really hard. They're doing everything we're asking them to do. We just need to get some experience built in here.
Put it all together, right?
Yeah.
And when you talk about that many newcomers, when it comes to kind of your style of play, how much do you try to maintain your style, and how much does maybe things change based on the personnel?
So I think, for us, we tell these guys when we recruit them really that, I'm not married to one particular style of play, that we're going to try to assemble a really good group of people, intelligent, high character, hardworking. And then we're going to figure out what our strengths are, and we're going to build a system around our strengths, try to take advantage of those things. That being said, that sometimes takes a little while. A lot of these guys we've only seen play on film until they get on campus. So, this first part of the season and really the whole, kind of non-conference schedule is us getting to know them getting to know our staff and each other, and really figuring out how we are going to bring out the best in one another.
So this is a tough league, obviously. You had Oregon State come in last year, Washington State last year, and then this year with Seattle. Talk about the 18-game schedule and how are you going to handle that?
This will be different for us. We're used to the double round robin, and this year that changes up a little bit. It's night in and night out. It's just challenging. Even prior to bringing in the new schools at Oregon State, Washington State, Seattle, it's a grind. There's very good coaches. There's really good players. We're fortunate with our travel. This is a league where, yes, you travel, but it's not crazy travel.
Yeah.
It's all fairly regional. And, but, the kids are just so well coached and so well prepared by the time you get to conference play that, we talk about one of the things we really take pride in is, can you show up on Thursday night, be the same team on Thursday night and on Saturday night, and then, after Christmas on Tuesday night too. We've got that 4-game week, but, can you play to your level of expectation throughout the course of the conference season in order to prepare for that conference tournament? But that's going to be very challenging for us this year with such a young group.
Candy, I want to come to you and kind of go back to what Coach was talking about with the strengths and figuring out the strengths of the team. And obviously, you're going to learn more about the team in November. You're going to learn more about the team in December. But in terms of what you've seen so far in practice, what do you see as the strengths of this year's team?
I feel like we are a really fast team. We are really versatile. Everybody plays defense. Everybody can play inside. Everybody can play outside. I think we are really a loud team, and we always help each other. And that's the team we are.
When you hear the words West Coast Conference, what one word comes to mind?
Basketball. I mean, maybe that's an obvious because we're at media day, but when we recruit our players, we really sell them on West Coast Conference is a basketball conference. Very few of our schools have football. We are about men's and women's basketball in terms of what you see. Our forward-facing marketing strategy is basketball. And our universities, by and large, support those two programs very well on both the men's and women's side. So that and just once you're within basketball, I would just say the parity and the coaching. It's just a really, really tough league to be good in every year.
Olivia, I'll come to you, but Candy, if you want to answer this one after too. Are there some things that you've worked on this offseason or something that you felt like you've added to your game headed into this season?
I think coming into the season, especially it being my last collegiate season, I think I've been working on using my voice at a more effective level, especially our team being so new and young as well. There's challenges in that, as Juan was mentioning. Challenges that can either be really, really good for us in terms of pushing us and allowing us to be versatile at every spot on the floor, or just a total learning curve too in some practices. So I think kind of finding a way to use my voice at a maturity that's going to help the young ones as well as a new team kind of flourish throughout the season.
I'm trying to develop my voice defensively. I want to be a leader in the defensive side. I also worked out my shot because I really didn't shot very well last season. So this season, hopefully, I will get to shoot pretty well.
Don't say hopefully, you will.
We will, we know.
Both of these guys were able to represent their countries this summer. So Olivia played over in China in the Asia Cup, and then Candy played with the U20 European Championships with their Italian national team. So both of them had great off-season experiences, and they both bring. Even though she's a sophomore, she's our fifth year or old one, but both of them bring a high level of competitive experience to us, and their maturity and their voice is going to be really important as we navigate through this season.
So we have these two here. Who on your team that's not here, that's a sleeper that you feel is going to be really crucial to your success this year?
I really think, Candy kind of said, I think we've got a lot of kids that are very versatile. It's just so hard to say. A lot of our young kids, and these guys will probably agree, are a little bit overwhelmed right now.
At this point in the year, yeah.
Just with a transition from, they're mainly European kids, right? So they're from a different country. So just getting used to being here, being away from home. The intensity, the pace, the physicality of college basketball in the U.S. is new. But I see really good sparks of possibility, in a lot of our freshmen, really a lot of our kids. I think this is probably one of the deeper teams that we've had in terms of we can really play all the kids that we have healthy on the roster now. And I think over the next, probably over the next 6 to 8 weeks, those, people are going to emerge. We're going to be able to define our roles a little bit better.
Coach, you get a win last year over Arizona State's first power conference win since 2021 for the program. What do wins like that do in terms of just confidence or recruiting for the program or things like that?
I mean, that was an exciting win, but honestly, I think our two signature wins last year were Gonzaga. We just get such a tough conference. We beat Oregon State once, beat Gonzaga twice. Washington State got us 2 times, but those really are the non-conference season is great, but we always kind of use that to prepare as best we can for the conference season. So, to be able to come out and, it's the first time we beat Gonzaga since my first year at USF 10 years ago. So those are probably our signature wins, but anytime you can beat a good team or a power team like that, I think it gives your players, confidence in themselves. I think it builds a sense of cohesion and, like, hey, we can accomplish whatever we want to accomplish if we, kind of stick together, put our minds to it.
What's the one thing that this team needs to do in terms of helping you define what's a successful year?
Really, this year isn't going to be, wins and losses are amazing, but this year needs to be about growth. We need to improve every day. There's tremendous potential. I mean, Candy's only a sophomore. Again, she's our oldest player, but she's coming into a new system. I think there's a lot of room for growth in her game. I just think all the players that we brought in, whether they're freshmen, are going to grow just because of the experience. Our transfer kids are going to grow because of the kinds of different expectations and either things that we allow them to do that maybe they hadn't done before, or things we're helping them try to add to their games. But I think this season is just really about growth for us. If we can make some continuous steady growth by the end of the season, I think that'll be successful.
Well, Coach, we wish you well. Thank you. Olivia, Candy, thank you for your time. Good luck this year.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
LA.
You're going to do it a lot better than some of us.
But it's just like when you have kids, you're like, you know who I'm talking to.
She knows who we're talking to. Stop ignoring us.
Just let me know when you're ready.
Ready.
Okay. And 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the West Coast Conference Media Day. I'm Helen Williams with Calvin Wetzel. We've got Ele and Alex, and we've got Coach Kami Edwards. Welcome, you guys.
Thanks.
Happy to have you here. Let's talk about expectations for this year.
I'll let them talk.
Oh, she put you on the spot. I like it. Okay, who wants to take that question?
I would say our expectations for this year is just to improve every day, come to practice ready to learn and to build, adjust to things, and then obviously do well on the court and hopefully, make it to the NCAA tournament and win a game there and just continue to build.
Okay. Don't you love it when they actually have listened to you? I can tell you said that.
Well, I do think this is a competitive team, and that's the nice thing about it is that these guys, they chose this place because they wanted to play at a high level. I think they want to compete at the highest level. We've put a really challenging schedule in front of them, and ultimately that's to prepare us to do well in the West Coast Conference. And so, we gotta get better than we were a year ago and try to advance and try to make postseason play.
So you got to the Super 16 last year. What did that teach your team in terms of what you need to do to get to the postseason and be successful and get past that first round?
Well, I think it's a different team. So I think it starts with that. Last year's team, we weren't seasoned enough. We weren't quite ready. We faced people in our league that had 5 senior starters and much more experience. We were exposed in certain ways. So this is a new team, a year older. A lot of our best players are much improved. And, we have to be more consistent. We have to be a better rebounding team. We have to be a better shooting team. We have to be a better defending team. I'm kind of hit it all. And this is, a competitive group that wants to win. And we have a schedule in place that will prepare us to play the very best teams in the country. And we've got to show that we're capable of doing that. And if we do that, if we just worry about today and worry about the next day and do it day by day, I think we'll be prepared to at least compete for championships in this league. And if we do that, then that sets you up to be in the postseason.
Coach, it's your second year in the WCC. You've seen all the opponents now. You've done the travel schedule, things like that. Is there an advantage to kind of having a year under your belt in terms of all that?
I would say yes, unless everybody has a top seed transfer portal. Yes, we know travel better, but all the teams are so unbelievably different. Now, coaches stay the same and their styles aren't going to change. So maybe that's a little bit better advantage and gets us more prepared. But so I do think we're in a little bit better spot of understanding what's coming at us and what to expect. But gosh, every team is so different. And I think all of us are just worried about us right now and not too much about who we're going to be playing in the West Coast Conference. And let's just try to get ourselves ready for what we might face.
Just get through the first game, right?
That's exactly right.
So you're in the Paradise Jam in the Bahamas. So I'm going to ask you what you want to do for fun later. But you're in a bracket where you could possibly face LSU. Was that on purpose, or they just put you there? Or?
Yeah, what's on purpose is a destination trip at Thanksgiving.
Okay.
We love doing that. And when you do that, so does everybody else in the country, and you're going to face really great competition. So excited about just the opportunity that, it's a tournament style, so you have to win the first round to get to the second round. LSU would be an amazing opportunity for us to play a top 10 team, but we also have other games that are going to provide that for us too. So, but that's part vacation, part destination, part journey,
business trip,
part journey of our team becoming a better team and bonding and enjoying each other. And yes, all business when it comes to the court.
I'll ask you, among the returners, is there anyone that you've seen so far in practice that you feel like has put in a lot of work over the offseason, maybe to open some eyes and take a big leap heading into this season?
Of course, I can name Alex because I think that she's doing so much better and she improved a lot from her freshman year, and I mean she's gonna be someone to look for because she always brings some like great advantage inside the paint. You know, you can always like, find the mismatch because it's not a common thing to have sort of this high. So it's gonna be so good to play with her, and I think that she put a lot of work to improve like her finishing and also like all the other stuff that she's good at. But like I think that everyone is working hard like every day at practice. So we're such a good team, and I think that we're gonna do great this season.
What's it like having a bunch of players from different countries on your team?
It's fantastic. I mean, it takes me a minute sometimes. They have to get interpretation for what I say. They have to look around and say what you say, and sometimes I have to do that with their accents. And but I love their mature, getting players from international, usually very mature. They got on a plane when they're 17. We have a 16-year-old on our team right now, so she's 16, and she got on a plane and she's with us. So they play in a system that teaches them how to do everything. So they're real versatile players. I think that fits in well with how we want to play. High IQ, good basketball feel. We love that about what they provide. And ultimately, I just love that they chose this as it's a challenge to them, but it takes courage to do what they're doing. And love that about them. And lastly, I just love that they come with an idea of they want to come to America. They want to go to school. They want to get a degree. They want to have this basketball experience that's going to springboard them into a professional career. And all of our internationals want to be pros. So they just take advantage of just the most amazing system in the world for women athletes 18 to 22. And sometimes Americans we take that for granted.
Yeah.
And they really embrace the opportunity to do this and love their experience doing it.
Well, Coach, Ellie was hyping with Alex, so I got to ask you about Alex. We're her hoop stats, so I got to bust out a stat. 4.5 blocks per 40 minutes. Alex is the only returning player in the country who's done that the last 2 years. How important is that rim protection to what you're trying to do on defense?
Well, and remember, she missed, a good 4 weeks or so all of February with an injury. So, I thought she was just really getting her stride, and we were getting a little bit better as a team, and then she goes down. So I really think that stunted our growth as a team last year. Alex wants to be great. Alex is a rim protector, much more, not just a shot blocker, but deters a lot of shots as well. So I expect that number to be as big as it was last year. I think she's going to be a more dominant offensive player. I think she's going to be a more dominant rebounder. I think she's going to get easy baskets because of her agility. Shot blocking is great. We need that, but we also need all the other phases, and she's really up for that challenge.
And last question, when you think of WCC, what one word comes to mind?
Well, I like the word that I used a minute ago. I think everything's in place for this to be a springboard for everything you want to do. The coaches are great. There's great talent. It prepares you for what you ultimately want in postseason. It's a challenge every night. So I like the idea that what a great springboard that it prepares us to springboard into our best success that we can have.
There you go. Coach Edwards, LA. Alex, thank you. Good luck to you this year.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate your time. us back. There we go.
There it is.
Okay. All right, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to West Coast Conference Media Day. I'm Helen Williams with Calvin Wetzel, and we have St. Mary's College here. Thank you for being here with us, Coach Jeff Cammon. I'll start with you.
Yes, ma'am.
The easy question, expectations for the year. I'm sure you're used to listening.
Yes.
Question?
Yes. Yeah. Expectations. I think, just pounding a rock of what we say, just being process driven. We feel like we have great potential. With this team, we have 9 returners and we added some really good pieces. And, I think we probably the only team that has that many returners, maybe besides Oregon State. So, I feel great about the year, to be honest with you. And yeah, I see the expectations aren't high in terms of the voting, but we feel good about potential of this team. So
awesome.
And Coach, going into year 3, you've kind of had a chance to establish your culture, style, things like that. Got some postseason experience with WNIT. What is the key to kind of building on that going into year 3?
Yeah, I think the most important thing was going into the off season, getting better. Developing the young ladies that we had in the program and continue to, push the culture, in the right direction. So I think that was the key thing. I thought we had a great spring, great summer, great fall. I think we have some young ladies who are ready to step into some bigger roles. And so, yeah, you got to continue to work. That's how you build a successful program. Similar to what we were able to do at Long Beach. It just takes time. You can't skip steps. And you got to continue to work and get young ladies that you believe in what you're doing. And we have a really good group that they do believe. And, Emily Floyd's been here, going on her 3rd year, and Addie's been here, which we inherited her from the last staff. So when you have young ladies who have been through it, and you can work closely together, they understand what the expectation, what the standards is here, it just makes it easier to do the basketball thing. The basketball part isn't hard. It's just, the intangible things. Can you do the hard things and the little details consistently every day? When you have a group that's bought into that, then it makes it easier. So we're going to get better, from year 1 to year 3, like from year 1 to year 2, we got better, and we continue to just grow and go in the right direction. So.
Obviously you were successful at Long Beach. What's the non-negotiable, the one non-negotiable that makes you a successful coach when you go and you take over a program? What's the priority? What's the non-negotiable?
Yeah, well, our standard and our non-negotiable, not the one, but we talk about, effort, in everything you do, your attitude, right? Being able to respond when things don't go your way, and having positive energy, not negative energy. That's how we define attitude. And competing in everything you do, just trying to be the best, right? The result may not be what you want to be, but your desire to be the best is there. And then how you communicate on and off the court is important for us. So those are our non-negotiables. We have to make the choice collectively as a group to do those every day. And obviously we want to be selfless, we want to be accountable. Everyone has those things, but those are our non-negotiables every day. You have to come with a positive attitude, great effort, got to communicate, and got to compete.
The C word, compete, yeah.
Exactly. And I'm going to come to all 3 players kind of just down the line here, starting at the end. Is there something that you have been working on over the offseason that you feel like you've added to your game heading into this year?
For me, I would just say confidence and just getting reps at everything, just because I was out last year especially. And so just trying to, especially with my shooting and stuff, getting quicker my shot release. But really working on all parts of my game just because I was out a year. So I just kind of have to get it all back and get back to playing.
If you guys could use the microphone. Yeah.
I would say that we've been working on coming off fumbles more and being confident with having the ball in my hand in certain situations. And then, like Addi said, just keep working on my shooting and all the stuff that I already have in my game. But yeah, being more comfortable having the ball in my hand more of the time.
Yeah, and for me, I would say definitely being more of facilitating type, for my teammates, just including them, and then also leading them in a way, showing them, especially the younger girls, just how to play as a team, and then working on my shooting my 3. I feel would really help too. So.
Shaking your head, Coach. So were they on point?
They're on, yeah, 1,000%, 1,000%. Yeah, the good thing, we have a working, like, industrious culture. I mean, I'll show up at 10 at night and there's nothing to see 2 or 3 of them in the gym getting up shots, or, they're always in offices watching film. I mean, they work, and they bought into that. So yeah, 1,000%. We go into the off season, we say, hey, these are the things that we feel you need to get better in. What do you feel you want to improve? It's kind of a collaboration. It's not just coaches. It's where do you see yourself? What type of player do you want to be? And we get a plan together and we try to execute that plan. So same thing with Malia. She wanted to, shoot the 3 better. So hey, we got to get in the gym. We got to get reps up. And she wants to be a better facilitator. So we have to put her in a position where she can, develop that skill set. And they all have the potential and ability to do that. It's just about putting the work in. Yeah.
Coach, I got a stat for you here. The Her Hoop Stats database goes back to 09.
Oh no.
In that time, last year was the first time St. Mary's has had a turnover rate over 20%. I just want to know what about your defense makes it so disruptive, and how important is that in terms of creating offense?
It's so crazy. I thought we weren't as good as we obviously weren't as good as I wanted to be, but yeah, that's kind of what we've hung our hat on in the past. The teams we've had. I mean, we were number 1 in the country at Long Beach with assist to turnover ratio, where we took care of the ball, but we turned you over 21 times a game. And yeah, I mean, we want to generate easy buckets, and what better way to do it than turning people over and creating bad shots, which it gets you into transition and gets you puts you in position to have numbers. So anytime we can attack early and often, that's what we want to do, and our defense allows us to do that. We want to be super disruptive, want to dictate. Whether we're in 94 feet, whether we're full court or half court, we're going to dictate in everything we do. And yeah, I've always seen the game play that way, and we try to recruit to that as well, and also get young ladies want to buy into that. It's tough, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of toughness to play for 40 minutes at that pace, and but we have a group that I think you'll see us even better this year with the personnel we have.
I'm glad you said that, because sometimes people forget that a bad shot is just as good as a turnover, assuming you get the rebound.
Yeah.
So remember that, ladies. Remember that.
Please, we definitely need rebound back.
So you had Oregon State last year, Washington State last year, and then Seattle this year. Talk about the difference in the conference and the new 18-game schedule.
Yeah, I actually like the 18 game better than 20 game. But Oregon State and Washington State, I mean, I was assistant coach in the Pac-12 playing against Scott. I mean, he's always done a great job. So to be able to compete against, coaches like that, for me personally, the team is great. It definitely helped elevate the league the last year and going into this year. But it's an interesting time in college sports, and you just never know who's going to be in your conference. Like, we got UC San Diego coming in a couple of years, and it's just – you just kind of adapt and adjust, and but yeah, Seattle U again, they're coming in and they'll bring something to the league as well. So for us, it's just do our part, and make sure that we represent this this conference the right way, and have a program that can compete nationally, and that's our job, right? Is to be a great representation for the program. I mean, I'm sorry, for the conference. So yeah, excited for Oregon State and Washington State, continue to compete against them, and then Seattle U coming in the conference. They know Skyler pretty well, and he's used to, he was at Portland as an assistant, so he knows the league. So it'd be pretty cool for them to, spend their first year in the league.
Awesome. Well, Addi, Emily, Malia, thank you. Coach Cammon, thank you, and good luck to you this year.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Pleasure. Thank you so
guys.
much.
Busy day for you, I would imagine.
Yeah. I guess it's part of what you sign up for, right?
Yeah. All right. So we won't keep it too long.
All right.
All right. And 3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome back to West Coast Conference Media Day. I'm Helen Williams. This is Calvin Wetzel, and we are here with the commissioner of the league, Stu Jackson. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well, and I want to thank you both for having me this
Well,
morning.
they asked us to come. We didn't have anything else to do. So.
Yeah.
We're really glad to have you here. Talk about your conference. I'll just start off by saying that good year last year. You had 6 teams that got into postseason play. Can you just speak to the growth of your conference on women's basketball?
Yeah, we were extremely pleased about our performance last year. And I think 6 teams in the postseason ties for the most ever that we've had, on the women's side. And, more importantly, it was just such a competitive year on with women's basketball, capped by an exciting tournament. We had Oregon State, who I believe was seeded 3rd, ended up winning our conference tournament championship in just some highly competitive games at the Orleans. And it just really spoke to, the growth of our game in this conference.
And, when you look at the conference, you had Oregon State last year, Washington State last year, Seattle comes in this year. What does it kind of mean for the conference to see that growth, and what went into adding Seattle, and what do they bring to the conference?
Yeah, no, it's very much of a positive, and in this landscape, as you know, nationally, where you have all this realignment, and certainly we've been affected by that. Having an opportunity to bring in a school like Seattle or Oregon State and Washington State just strengthens our cause. I mean, we're all in search of, scheduling better. We're all in search of improving our metrics. We're all in search of, having a competitive conference. And the addition of institutions like that certainly adds to it.
What goes into trying to navigate this new athletic landscape, with your conference, adding schools, NIL, all those kinds of things? What keeps you up at night?
Yeah, all of those things. But at the same time, as I tell our staff, and we talk about this a lot, when I first took over the position as commissioner, at that time, there was some rumblings about NIL, and the fact that many people felt that student athletes should be deservedly getting a piece of the pie. But no one could predict the effect of the transfer portal. No one could predict the realignment that happened across the country the way it has. So when you couple that with NIL, yeah, it's a lot to keep you up at night. But as we talk about it internally, you really don't have an opportunity to lament on it. You have to adjust and stay nimble, and because you're fighting for, staying current and, survival. And, when you add institutions like a Seattle or affiliates like Oregon State and Washington State, it just keeps you relevant, keeps you visible, keeps you competitive.
Can you explain what that means, affiliate versus adding Seattle?
Yeah, so Seattle is a full-time West Coast Conference member. Oregon State and Washington State, because of realignment, needed a place for 2 years during their grace period from the NCAA to park other sports. So they partnered with us for 2 years to come and compete in the West Coast Conference. And, I don't want to speak for Oregon State and Washington State, but I think it's been a good experience for them, and it's been a beneficial experience for us. Now, next year, they'll go into the reconfigured Pac-12. We have Seattle this year. Then a year later, we'll bring in UC San Diego as a full-time member, not an affiliate. So our growth can continue.
Kind of going back to Oregon State and Washington State. Oregon State picked to win the league. Gonzaga got a few first-place votes. They owned the league for a while. Last year, Oregon State gets to the tournament. Gonzaga drops a few. What does it look like to kind of see more parity and like you said, 6 teams, the most this conference has gotten into the postseason. Just at the top, it seems like more of an anyone can beat anyone type of a landscape than maybe it used to be. What does that mean for the conference?
Well, reputation-wise, it's very much of a positive. I mean, the West Coast Conference in women's basketball has been typically a multi-bid league, most years over the past decade. And it's a testament to the fact that, there's some good teams, there's some really good coaches. I mean, when you talk about Washington, when you talk about Oregon State, and you're talking about Gonzaga, you have two of the better coaches in the country, in Coach Rueck and also Coach Fortier. So it just, it speaks to our brand. It speaks to student athletes as a prospective place to be. And fortunately and hopefully we continue to benefit from that.
You have some big games now that are going to be broadcast nationally this year on CBS and Fox. Can you talk about how that came about and why that's so important for your league?
Yeah, extremely important in the sport of women's basketball. But again, it's a testament, again, not to overuse the word, to our conference, but also just the growth of women's basketball. I mean, my goodness, people are interested. People are watching. The network partners understand that and will take opportunity where they see fit to showcase, our teams. And, we're going to have certainly 6 games broadcast during our conference tournament. One of those will be the finals for the women across ESPN platforms. But ESPN has also selected one women's game for a national linear exposure. And when you get those national linear exposures, that's the type of stuff that really moves the needle, for a conference like ours.
One thing I'm wondering, and I think maybe a lot of our viewers might wonder, is as a conference commissioner, we see you on interviews like this, kind of speaking for the conference, but what does it involve being a conference commissioner, just day to day? What is your job like?
Oh, well, when things go great, everybody else gets credit. When they go really bad and something bad happens, the buck stops here. No, one of the motivations for, me investigating and accepting this position is the enormous challenge that commissioners have, across the country. We're in kind of a select club. There are only 32 of them. And, I look at myself as someone that can both, one, provide hopefully better visibility, 2, help the conference financially, which is a real challenge in this landscape to find alternate sources of commercial revenue, and thirdly, oversee the running of our championships, which are really why we're all in this business for the student athletes. So those are sort of 3 main pillars. What's not in the pillars is just the source of headaches that, we all experience, particularly in this day and age when you've got now, federal intervention and potentially legislation overseeing collegiate athletics or affecting college athletics. As I said, no one can predict, just the upheaval to collegiate sports that NIL, the transfer portal, and revenue sharing has brought about. But it's up to me. I look at myself as a point guard and a conduit between our member institutions or our programs and our presidents, who I report to. My 10 presidents, and that's kind of my job, is to make sure that we keep the conference moving forward in a positive direction.
I read somewhere where about 44% of your student athletes on the basketball side are international athletes. So where does that trend come from? Obviously, it's good for the league, but talk about that.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. And it's a real indication that there's a comfortability factor for international players in coming to our institutions. And that has a lot to do with the way that they are viewed, treated, and nurtured. And it fits in line with women's basketball, because basketball truly it's a global game. And the West Coast Conference is reflective of that. I would challenge any other conference in the country to have that higher percentage of international players on the men's and women's side. And, we see it in the WNBA, We see it in the NBA. We see countless opportunities that many of these women players have internationally when they complete their stints at their colleges. There's now a professional path. And if an international player feels that they can come to a West Coast Conference school and develop both athletically and personally with an eye on making it a profession, we're not a bad place to be. So you're going to have plenty of company.
Awesome. Commissioner, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Oh,
Best of
thank
luck
you.
this year to all your teams.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Watching us. Oh, there we go.
Oh, it's like right.
Yeah. Okay. So we have.
I'm gonna put this under them.
No. We're not that.
Okay.
So Sophie and Ash. Which one is which?
Ashley, so
Gotcha. Okay. Sophie Glancey. Ash. It's okay. All right. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the West Coast Conference Media Day. I'm Helen Williams with Calvin Wetzel, and we have Santa Clara here today. We have Coach Lori Payne and Ashley Hawkins and Sophie Glancey. So welcome.
thank you.
I'm sure you've heard that word a lot in your new opportunities. Tell us what drew you to Santa Clara after a really successful career at Northern Arizona.
Yeah, Santa Clara is an amazing place. You know, location-wise, I think the support from our administration, from our university, and just this conference. This conference is an incredible conference, and we're very excited to be in it.
Awesome.
Well, Coach, I wanted to ask about, at Northern Arizona, you pushed the pace, you still protected the ball, shot some threes. How similar is your style going to look here at Santa Clara?
It's going to look very similar with some increased talent as well. You know, we like to get up and down. We like to play an exciting style of basketball. We like to shoot a lot of threes and really just pick the pace up. I'll have a lot more possessions because we feel the more possessions we have in a game, the greater opportunity we have to win.
I see you guys going like this. So I would assume that you approve of the system. Either one of you can answer that.
Yes, I mean, I came from Northern Arizona with her, so I love the system. It fits me well, so yeah.
I agree. I came here for the system. Like when they talked to me about it, I really liked it, and I'm glad I'm here.
She was a heavy scorer at her last school.
Gardner Webb.
More possessions. How much better scoring can have opportunities.
So are you the translator for what Coach says to the rest of the team?
Sometimes I think. Sometimes I'm like, guys, it's okay. She's not actually mad at us. But I feel like I've played with her for a while now, so I know I'm pretty familiar with her and her system and the philosophy of all of it. So yeah.
So speaking of philosophy, what were the first couple things you're like, I've got to get this done when you got to Santa Clara in terms of team culture, building chemistry, and those types of things?
Well, I was first going to say we needed to build a team because we had 2 players on the roster, right? So it was win the transfer portal, and she was a big piece of that. Obviously, bringing the foundational pieces from NAU with us was to just build that foundation. The biggest things was getting enough talent in our roster to be able to contend for a championship. My first couple of years at NAU, we did not have a ton of success. We had to rebuild that program from the ground up, and I didn't want to do a full rebuild. And so, fortunately, the transfer portal puts you in a position where you don't have to start from the ground up. You have an opportunity to go and kind of build the team. And we were in a situation where we were able to do that. We got a ton of talented players, so it was really just getting them comfortable with each other and having a lot of team chemistry. We did a lot of team bonding in the summer, had a lot of fun, but also just really let them get to know each other so that we could, continue to build on that.
And Coach, coming into year one, we kind of talked about the style and things like that you're bringing over, but what are some of the keys to establishing maybe that off the court, the culture that you want to establish here?
One of the biggest things with our program is our core values, and that starts with culture. And it really starts with empowerment of these student athletes, making them feel appreciated, valued, understanding that they all play a significant role in our system, in our program. And we have a lot of fun. Like, that's the other piece is we always say, like, we're going to have a ton of fun and we're going to work incredibly hard. And if we do those 2 things, I think we can put together a pretty successful team.
How has it been meeting and mingling with the new coaches in the league and, getting used to the new teams?
Yeah, it's been great. I actually coached at the University of Portland when I first got into coaching for a couple of years, so familiar with the WCC. Obviously, colleagues, coaches, a lot of us came up coaching together, and so it's a unique little family, as a former coach. You just get to know people on the road, and it's the talent of coaches in this league is pretty high, and so I'm excited to be able to be challenged every single game, to have the opportunity to coach against some really great coaches.
Well, and both of you transferring in, what are you looking forward to the most about playing in such a competitive conference in WCC?
I'm really excited because I think that our team is also really good, so we can really compete against them. And so I think that's what I'm looking forward to the most, is just being able to compete against really good players.
I'm excited because I've played a couple WCC schools just being at NAU. And those are always super fun games. And I grew up watching like Gonzaga and Oregon State. I'm from Boise, so watched them play a lot. So I'm just excited to play against them and be in that situation. So yeah.
I see your eyes light up. So I know you're going to be shooting a lot of threes. I could just see it in your face. So, Coach, you have the new league. What's going to be your definition of success?
We want to contend for the championships. I mean, we established that as we started to turn the program around at NAU. We always want to be contenders. We always want to be relevant in conference and make people have to prepare for us. And we want to be the team to beat. And so I think for us, just establishing that standard of the expectation to win, and we've been talking about just the expectation to win, but the process that it's going to take for us to get there. And that's right now what we're focused on with our team building, with setting our goals, with our scheduling, just really setting us up to be successful for conference play.
Throughout your coaching career, whether Northern Arizona or anywhere previously, is there something that you've learned that you feel like better prepares you to enter year one as a coach here?
I learn something every year. That's the thing. I want to be a lifelong learner. Surround myself with incredible people. My staff is amazing. I think the addition staff to this program is really what I think took us from getting really good at NAU to being champions. And fortunately, I was able to bring my entire staff with me. And so we're excited to plug and play a little bit. We just work so well together, and we added an incredible coach. We had the opportunity to add another coach to that who's contributing a ton of great things. True post coach. That was one of
your eyes are lighting up.
that Sophie really wanted, just a former player who could now coach her in that position. So that was an important piece to filling that final spot on our staff. But our staff chemistry is amazing. I trust our staff a ton. Amazing defense offensive coordinator that has really got our system clicking on offense.
And Sophie, what has it been like for you having a post coach?
It's been awesome. I mean, so the old post coach is on the staff still, and so he's awesome, and I still get his input, but now I get a post coach who played in the posts input too, so I'm getting both of those voices kind of in my ear, and it's been so awesome, and nothing like I've ever experienced before, which is super fun, and I'm learning like a ton every single day. So yeah.
So, Coach, you talked about learning. With the changing athletic landscape, where have you had to grow the most? Because all coaches, I think, have had to evolve.
Yeah, I think just understanding how to utilize the transfer portal to our benefit. I think for right now, and again, things change so quickly in this landscape, but we had to dive into the transfer portal to fill a team this year, and philosophically in the future, we really want to utilize it as a fill gap for our needs for that year. Like we're still recruiting freshmen. We still believe in players coming in and developing throughout their career, and us providing player development for them to continue to improve and having that legacy of, hey, I've been here. Last year at NAU we had 3 fifth-year seniors. Like we've had a history of having players for the longevity of their careers. I'm still holding on to hope for that, but I think the transfer portal is a great opportunity to fill in here. Hey, we need this position. We need more depth in this position, or we need an impact player, and really utilizing it that way. But I think you just have to be flexible and adaptable in the landscape of things. But I feel like we're pretty stable here in the West Coast Conference and our position within it, and we're just excited to join the conference.
Actually, I'll start with you and then come to Sophie. Is there something that you have worked on over the offseason and tried to add to your game coming into this year?
I think just 3-point shooting overall, like being more comfortable catching catch and shoot threes, because for my last year it was more like I had the ball and I would have to create for myself or for others rather than getting those catch and shoot threes. And so now I think just like finding that just consistency in a catch and shoot.
I don't know. I was injured a little bit this off season, but I worked on a lot of the mental piece of being ready to stretch and play from the high post and not just the block. And I think that's been really good for me. And I'm really excited to just play. So yeah.
From the high post, 3-point.
And well, that too.
He was one of our top percentage 3-point shooting percentage last year.
Gotta stress that floor. Gotta stress that floor.
Just being versatile in our program is incredibly important, and that's one of the things we look for in recruits and what we look for to show this roster was players that can play multiple positions, because we obviously get up and down, and so we want players that can shift over and maybe run the point or play a stretch four as well. So having options is great.
And they all have the green light, right?
All have the green light. They all have the green light. If they don't shoot, they get in trouble, right?
I would have played for you for sure. Well, thanks,
How many
Coach.
times have we said, shoot the ball, shoot the ball? Yeah.
Well, we appreciate your time, Coach Payne, Sophie, Ashley. Good luck to you this year.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. You can have your coffee in there. That's fine. No, it's fine. It's fine. Okay. And 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the West Coast Conference Media Day. I'm Helen Williams, and this is Calvin Wetzel. And we have San Diego here today. We've got Coach Blanche Alverson. All right. We've got Kylie Ray. And my namesake, we've got Helen Holley. So she's my favorite already. Coach, welcome. I'm sure you've heard that a lot. First year at San Diego. Let's talk about your experience of moving over that 1 inch to the chair.
It's different. It's different. Everybody says that, and I think that's one thing Mel Fortner always was like prepared. She was like, just get ready. That was our last couple of years together, just constantly talking about those things. There you realize how many things that you actually need to do every single day. But no.
Well, you played for Nell as well. Is there anything that you learned from her playing or coaching that you feel like you want to take into your head coaching role?
Yeah, I think everything. I think when you're around someone for so long, I met Nell when I was 15, and so we've known each other for 20 years, and I think that's one of those things that, like, you just constantly, when you're around somebody like that and their passion for life and their history of coaching, I think you try to take every little thing you can. And just make a note and try to carry it over to your program. So I think that's one thing for me. It's just constantly reminding me, what would Mel do in this situation, and kind of thinking about all the outcomes and those different things. But I would say it's a multitude of things for sure.
Well, you're not totally inexperienced because you've had some interim head coaching opportunities. So what did you learn in those opportunities that you brought to being the woman now?
Yeah, I think, the first time I did that, I was always thinking, like, what would Nell want me to do in this moment? Versus the last time I did it, like, this is what you have to do. You just got to go with your gut.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things. It's just like whatever we feel like we need at the time, just trust it and just kind of make sure that our preparation is good and our plan is good, and just kind of see where it goes.
Well, and like you guys said, you've had some interim experience, but in terms of your first kind of official head coaching job, like, what do you want the identity of a Blanche Alverson coached team to look like?
Yeah, I think we've been saying it all day. It's to be process driven. Constantly just we're focusing on us versus us, and having a great attitude every single day, and working really hard. And we've thrown around the idea of defend and rebound and run. That's what these two do the majority of the time. But no, I do think our culture is really important, and the environment we create. I think I want our environment of our team and our staff to just be one where everybody feels like we can come in and work and get better every single day. And, just love and embrace each other and have a lot of passion for what we're doing.
What do you two like about Coach? I'm going to put you on the spot right now because she's saying things and you guys are smiling. There's obviously a relationship here, but when she came in and she took over, what do you think was the biggest plus for you?
Honestly, I feel like personality. I feel like we connected over the phone really quick. She's young and she's easy to talk to, and she's bringing in fresh ideas and stuff. And so I think that's so relatable for us. So it's just easy to talk to her.
Yeah, I'd say the same thing. Just relationship, fun personality, and just fun to be around.
Yeah, well, kind of a similar question, but you both transferred in. And so what drew you to play for Coach Alverson and just to come to San Diego?
Well, for me, the weather was the easiest.
Absolutely.
No snow, waking up to sun and stuff was just an easy decision. But also I would say her and the coaching staff, everybody is just they're all just amazing people. Their personalities are each different, but they mesh together so well, and they're all from different places. But I mean, the connection is just there, and then you have people from the last coaching staff still there, and I think that they just know what they're doing too, and I think they're great, honestly.
Yeah, great people to be around. I mean, San Diego's beautiful. It's a beautiful place to be at.
So hopefully you guys are getting some studying done.
Oh yeah,
with the good weather. With the good weather.
Yeah.
But why San Diego?
I think I think San Diego is a phenomenal place. The campus is beautiful. I think that what the campus represents is really important, and just in terms of it being a place where people feel comfortable and it's a safe space from a campus perspective. But the investment in basketball is real, and our athletic department, our athletic director are really kind of coming in and investing in basketball and our athletic programs. when you can feel that, I think as you want to go into a place where you know the administration is doing that, and we have the facilities, we have the resources, and for us, there's no reason why we can't start to get our program where it should be.
And when you look back on kind of your coaching career, like how important are some of those relationships that you built, whether with Nell or whoever else, when it comes to recruiting and things like that, and having a footprint in different places?
For sure, I think one of the biggest things people talk about recruiting in areas and different where you've been and where you're coming from, but I think one of my biggest strengths as a recruiter is like no matter where I am, it's home. And so even though I was from California originally, when I worked at USC. I'm easy to adapt to the area and get to know. So just being genuine, I think, and being transparent in that process is really important. And so those relationships definitely matter. I mean, for these two specifically, and then we continue, like all of our returners decided to stay, our freshmen decided to come still. And so those relationships and building that, I think, is making those organic but intentional.
How is it getting to know the coaches in the league? I'm sure you probably knew them from on the road and stuff too, but now you're obviously one of their colleagues.
It's to me, we have some of the best coaches in the country in this league. And working at USC, being able to coach against Scott and Cammon. When we were at SC, I used to do their scouting reports a decent amount, so that was fun, or not so fun, whether you're looking at it that way. But and then some of the other coaches, whether we recruited against each other or Eric Hughes and I worked together at USC. So it's been fun to get back and reconnect and see a lot of them more often because I have some really good friendships in our conference. So I'm really excited to be back.
Well, I have a little bit of a fun one. To put you on the spot, though, either of you two can answer. Is there a professional player, WNBA or NBA, who you feel like you model your game after or who you want to play like?
I actually have a funny story. I wear 10 for Dennis Rodman because his defense and his rebounding. And I don't know, when I first started, I kind of like was the rebounder. I was just tall and like long, and I didn't really like know how to like maneuver yet and stuff. So I kind of wore 10 because he kind of started his career wearing 10 and at the Spurs, and he was kind of just, I don't know, getting started. So that's why I wear 10. So.
I would say Sabrina Ines. I just like watching her play and how she scores the ball, passes.
I love it.
Good choices. So how are you going to define success at the end of the season? What would have been the goals that you would want to reach?
Yeah, I'd say by the end of the season, we can look back and just be proud of our product we put before and our process. Again, I think in our first year, it's really important to go back to that. It's just really focusing on the strides we make every game. And if you kind of break up the season, we have non-conference and conference, and kind of this non-conference is going to be kind of figuring out who our identity is. We can say we want to do these things, but really kind of figuring out the time what are we doing, and so really being able to build our chemistry and our culture in this non-conference season is going to be really important as we head into the conference. But it's going to be us versus us. So.
When it comes to that on-court product, what are some things that you want your team to be strong at, the strengths of your team?
Yeah, I think for us, honestly, right now we've got to continue to try to be a better defensive team. I think that's something for us. We want to defend, rebound, and run. We want to play fast. I think you can look across the board in the country, teams that are playing at a faster pace or having a lot more possessions, a lot more opportunity to score. So that's one thing we've been emphasizing a lot is this, especially this past week, really kind of like dialing in on the defensive end, and that allows us to play fast because we're a really fast-paced team. And so one of our things that we always did at Georgia Tech too, when we really needed to make a jump, was we needed to play faster and get more possessions. So that's one thing we're going to consistently try to do.
Aside from that, any other non-negotiables as you start your first head coaching job?
Yeah, I think it's always effort, attitude, competing all the time. I think that's everything we've been talking about a lot, not quitting on plays and finishing out. But we're a competitive group. We've got a great spirit. We love to compete. That's our best girls in practice. We're competitive. So I'd love to see that. But no, they do a great job. So we're excited to get started.
Awesome. Coach Alverson, Helen, Kylie, thank you for your time. I wish you well this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to West Coast Conference Media Day. I'm Helen Williams. This is Calvin Wetzel. We've got University of Portland here today with Coach Michael Meeks, and we've got Dyani Ananiev, and we've got Florence Dallow. So welcome, Coach. Excited to have you here. I know you're excited to start the year. Can you talk a little bit about expectations for this year?
Yeah, I think our expectations remain the same. We really tried to be every year, try to be centered on just get better every day and trying to play our best in March. And, thankfully we've been right there most seasons and have a chance to win the tournament, get in the NCAA tournament. And though this team is really young and will I'm sure have some growing pains early on, we have a lot of talent and we have great culture. And, I feel like if we continue to get better every day, this is another team that will have a chance at the end.
Going into last year, you lose your top two players in minutes, lose Lucy Cochran. You still win 30 games. What is the key to kind of continuing that success into this year?
Well, we just have had phenomenal leadership, over the last couple of years. And I think we've got great leaders with these two and with, Ryan Mogul, Lainey Spears, Natalie Fraley. Like we have, and I think they've been shown what great leadership looks like. And so I feel like that culture, that tradition, we've been fortunate enough over these last 6 years to win 4 championships. And we feel like we have the group and the character and to be in the mix again. I mean, I know that our league is really tough and we have so many great teams. And, I think as was shown last year, we're 31-5, but I mean, it felt like every game was a 2-point game or a 1-point game. And we just have so much respect for everyone in this league that we know it's going to be another tough season. And we know every game is going to be like, we're going to have to be ready to go.
Talk about what it's going to take for you. Obviously, you had Oregon State coming to the league last year, Washington State, and then you got Seattle. It's such a tough league. What do you think it's going to take to be successful again? What's your non-negotiable in terms of improvement from last year to this year?
Well, I think, if we talk about last year's team, I think of all the groups we had, just the consistency. And, I think regardless of where we're at day one, I just think that continuous trend of upward improvement. And, I think that's really what is going to need to define this group. And again, talk about like the talent we have. We feel so great about all that, but just, we just have so much inexperience and new players, and even our experienced players who are good, really good players, are going to be in new roles. So for us to get to where we need to get to and what we feel like we're capable of, we literally are going to have to take every day and try to use it to get better. And I know everyone says that, but I feel like our groups have consistently shown that. And this team to start with has been no different.
Florence, I'll come to you. When you look at the returners on this team, is there anyone who you feel like has put in the work over the offseason, has taken a big leap, and is going to open some eyes this year?
I think honestly everyone has stepped up over the summer. They've all worked on their weaknesses and developed on their strengths. We know it's a big year and we want to do well, and so we do whatever it takes for us to win in March. And so I would say
I'll ask you this, Dyani. I read that there's about 44% of the student athletes in the West Coast Conference are international students. What drew you to Portland as an international student?
I think just the things that the coaches were saying to me, they held true with what the players were telling me as well. And I think the culture, the winning mentality, and everything that Mike and his program stood for, it aligned with what I wanted, and I just really liked it, and it felt right to me. So,
Coach, I'll come back to you. In your 6 seasons there, you've been in the top 25 every year in terms of limiting opponent threes. I think a lot of people in today in basketball kind of talk about the analytics and threes and layups and stuff like that on offense, but when it comes to defense, I think of like Carl Smesko, like those coaches who take away the three on defense. How important is that to your defense?
Well, I think that's a goal of every game we play. I think not only is our league such a great three-point shooting league, but I think the game has changed so much that if you're not at least good at taking away the 3-point line, it's going to be hard to be successful in that outing. It definitely is one of our main goals going into every game is that we're really going to get out and guard the line. And, I think we've been in the, not only near the top in least amount of attempts, but also field goal percentage. And part of I think the decrease in field goal percentage is just how in tune our team is to just say, we just can't even let them shoot these. And so that's really been a really big thing for us. And also knowing how good of 3-point shooters are in our league, kind of have to do that.
So you've got USC and Oregon on your schedule. What do you hope to gain from those 2 games in terms of how it's going to make your team better?
They're obviously great teams, and we feel like even playing Montana State early, who I don't know, won 32 or 33 games. Like we feel like our whole non-league schedule, we just game in, game out. We know we're going to get tested, but I think we've really tried to use every game that we play to improve upon ourselves. And so, I obviously Oregon and USC are really good teams, really good programs, and hopefully they'll, because they're different in how they play, they'll expose different things than maybe Montana State or Eastern Washington or Nevada that we have to get better at. And so I don't think we've really tried to treat every opponent like this is our one opportunity to play this team, but also to improve upon it as much as we can in ourselves. I think we've really been a program that's really tried to stay centered on what we can keep getting better at. And so we know that those teams are really good, but at the end of the day, regardless of what the outcome is, it's just, okay, do we need to get better at taking away the 3, rebounding, take care of the ball, like whatever each team exposes that we need to get better at, we're just going to use it as an opportunity to improve upon.
Well, and that kind of leads me into my next question, Coach. Are there some things that you think this year's team is going to be better at next 15?
Well, I mean, our length and athleticism, I feel like, is really just awesome, and I think we also have great players too. So I feel like probably in the 7 years now here, like our depth of talent is the best it's ever been. And so I think we're going to have to utilize that to one of our strengths. I think that hopefully with the length that we have, we can be a little bit stronger of a rebounding team and maybe create more deflections and turnovers and things like that. So, I think that for this team in itself, I think a lot of it comes down to just how long it takes this group to get more cohesive and experience together. Because I think last year's group just, we had a foreign trip and we had a plethora of returning players and veterans when we started 5 seniors. So this group is, every bit as talented, from just a pure talent standpoint, but a lot more freshmen, sophomores, juniors than seniors.
So you have a very competitive conference, quality coaches. Can you speak to the new 18-game schedule that you're going to have this year?
Well, I mean, it is what it is because everyone's playing 18 games, and I love playing everyone twice. I think just having a home and away with each team, and that would always be my preference. But at the end of the day, I know because of where we place in the RPI over the last few years, we're going to have a harder schedule than a lot of teams are. It's not necessarily everyone, and so we know that. But I think we've talked about this before. Like if you look at last year's 31-5 team, I mean, so many of those games were 1-2-point games and games that came down the wire or overtime wins that we've always felt like it doesn't matter if you're playing 1 or 2 in our league or 11-12, like you have to show up. Like you have to show up every night. And I think that just speaks to the quality of the league and the coaches that we have. And we respect that. We respect everyone in our league. And we know that you just can't take a night off.
Coach Meeks, Florence, Dyani, thank you very much for your time. We wish you well this year.
Thank you.
Thank you.
on video and just so I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. All right.
So don't pick my nose or anything.
We could just edit that out. The magic of technology. Welcome back to the media day for West Coast Conference. I'm Helen Williams. This is Calvin Wetzel, and we are here with Gonzaga, Coach Lisa Fortier, Ines Bettencourt, and Allie Turner. Welcome. Great to have you guys here, Coach. Good to see you. You look awesome.
Thanks.
20 wins your first 11 years. I'm just going to embarrass you here. Always winning. What are your non-negotiables? Because your teams are always you're always successful. So what are your non-negotiables? Let's start with that.
I don't know if I have that many. I'm pretty laid back about stuff. I think that our biggest non-negotiable is that we're going to show up for each other. I think that that's something that's even since I was an assistant coach, that's kind of the Gonzaga way is you're doing what you're doing for your team. That our team success is more important than individual success, and we want to succeed as individuals. But sharing the ball and working hard and talking and those are things that help your teammates out and help your teammates be successful. And our group, I think we have really good players, but compared to how we compete against other teams out there in the world, sometimes maybe under talented, and so we always think that we can definitely bridge the gap if we play as a team. And so we want to out team everybody that we can. So if I had something that was a non-negotiable, it would be that. I mean, we care about work ethic, we care about running hard and communicating and all those things, but that would be probably the biggest one.
And Helen mentioned the 20 plus wins, how many years in a row? Like, what is the key to kind of that level of sustained success in then 8 straight tournaments before last year? What's the key to getting back into the tournament this year?
Well, I mean, I think the key to that level of success, we've had good players who bought into what we do. Our philosophy in recruiting is always get players that fit us well and believe in what we can do and want to get better, and that we help them get better. And we've done that. We have example after example of players who they've all done it different, but lots of players who have come in and just put in the work and been thirsty and hungry for whatever we have to share and to have team success and to do the little things. And so the teams with the best players have the best records, honestly, and the teams that play the best together have the best records. And so we've done a good job of those over the past few years. As far as this team goes, I think that we're really pretty new. We have a lot of players who are inexperienced at Gonzaga. And so we're really just trying to figure out how to be the best version of us. We want to, of course, be in the NCAA tournament. That's a huge goal that we have as a program all the time. And I think if we're the best version of ourselves as soon as we can be, then that's how you do that. And so our schedule is going to be tough. We're going to be tested mightily. There's different ways to get into the NCAA tournament. Sometimes that's a non-conference success. And so that's what we've set ourselves up for. Sometimes, obviously, it's winning the tournament. Sometimes it's playing good teams in conference and beating them, so you have a good record against the tier 1s and tier 2s and whatever. So there's a lot of different paths. And for us, I just think that the biggest thing for us is going to be serving every moment. Every day in practice, you have to string together things. You have to stack them. You hear all those terms that are now very popular, but they're popular because they're true. And if you do those things, then that's what leads to that success and will lead to a postseason experience that we're looking for.
I know part of your success too is the stability of your staff. They've been with you for a minute. Can you talk about them?
Yeah, I mean, so the last 2 years, my staff and my team did not sign up for having to coach with cancer, right? It's been a challenge, and I'm so grateful that Jordan, Stacy, and Craig specifically, and Chantel and Jazzy are great. They've only been with us a couple of years, but those other 3 coaches have been with me my entire 12 years, and they've had to step in. They've been coaching even as recently as the last 8 weeks. They've been coaching the team. I've been out with a procedure that I had to have related to my health issues, and so they're a group of people who know each other well. They know each other's strengths and they play well off of that. They teach differently. So I have one of those coaches who teaches every detail, and then one of those coaches that makes things work just in general. You know what I mean? And then another one who does it a little differently. And so I think that they not only are they the ones who recruited the players, they know me, they know each other. And I think that as you face adversity, whether that be adversity like we've had the last couple of years or just even within the season, whatever comes up, they can double down on that, and they're all mini head coaches. So for me, I feel really fortunate that when I do have to be away from the team, that they've been able to fill in probably better than I would do, to be honest with you. So I'm pretty grateful for them.
Allie and Ines, Coach started off the top talking about the players that make Gonzaga great, and you can go down the line in this program from Courtney Vandersloot to more recently Brenna Maxwell, Yvonne Ejim, so many great players. What does it mean for you guys to kind of carry that torch and be part of that list now of players that make this program great?
Yeah, it means a lot. Like losing Bonnie, losing Mal. I never played with Brenna, but we've seen her around quite a bit. It's definitely cool to be next in line to those great people. And we just want to carry on their legacy mostly. We want to be leaders. We want to be people that the younger freshmen on our team can look up to, like how we looked up to those people in the past years. So just carrying on what they did.
Yeah, it just shows how good Gonzaga is, and how many great players we can create. Coach Lisa can create.
Acquire.
So like Ellie said, just keep building on what this legacy has been, and try to make a name for ourselves. Maybe not as high a standard as they have been, but just being able to be a part of the program and learning from all those people is just a great experience.
And just picking up on what Ines says, this is a new landscape for athletics. How have you evolved as a coach to be able to navigate this new landscape and still keep your non-negotiables and keep Gonzaga, a winning, successful program?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that I'm willing to do it. If you're not willing to do it, then you have changed profession by now. It's just a different, I'm not that old as much as these players think that I am. I'm still I'm a teenager as far as coaching goes.
Sure.
I'm not close to retirement. So if I want to continue coaching, I love my job, then I have to, you have to evolve just like you do every team. I think every team, I'm not the kind of coach who says you have to play to how I want. We're constantly looking at the strengths of our team and trying to figure out how to help them to be their best. And I think that the same thing goes with the landscape. And if you want to, we're trying. Debbie Antonelli actually asked me probably 10 years ago or 8 years ago, maybe, how this is going to change things for you. And our model has been, like I mentioned already today, get players that believe in what we're doing here and help them get better. And so now that might be the transfer portal, that might involve some NIL money or some revenue share. It has changed a little bit, but it's still the model that we have. It's just there's a different medium. And so for us, we're trying to do the same things. We just have to be smart in how we do it. And again, we would be crabby all the time if we thought of how I did the job as a GA or how it used to be when I was a player. That's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So it doesn't help us at all to move forward if we are stuck in the past. So we're just trying to be present with all of that, just like we ask them to be, and take what comes to us with grace and ease, and then try and figure it out. Sometimes it's muddled through it, and sometimes it's all right. I think we got it, and let's run with this.
You mentioned there that kind of constantly evaluating the strengths of your team. When you look at this year's team in terms of strengths on the court, style of play, things like that, are there ways that you see this year's team being similar or different to last year's team?
We recruit a type of player that can make it to where it's similar. So I think in general, we look for players who are well-rounded. I think we like versatility offensively. We like forwards who can shoot it from the perimeter. We like guards who can sometimes post up. We like guards who can handle it. We like people who can defend. So we're trying to find players who are skilled, but also multidimensional. And so I think that that's a similarity that we have to last year's team. I don't know that we have necessarily, last year more than ever, it was if you needed something, we're going to go through Bonnie. And it's different when that's a guard. Allie is the only returning starter we have on our team this year. And so there are some differences. I do think we have players, inside players who can draw help, which opens things up for our perimeter players. I would like us to push the ball better than we did last year. I think that we took a step back as far as transition teams go, and that's always been part of our DNA. So that's something that I think we're capable of with the players that we have on our team right now. And then we'll see. I think we're still developing some of those tenets, but I think that we're not going to look like a team that you're surprised is wearing a Gonzaga jersey. I think that there's going to be certainly a lot of parts where you're yeah, that fits with what they do.
So Allie, being the only returning starter, do you envision your role being different? And if so, how?
Yeah, I mean, usually the only returning starter isn't a sophomore on a team, so that's pretty crazy. But we lost a lot of really, really good people, and that's part of what made our team pretty good last year. So I think my role is definitely to step into what those 4 people that left did best, which was lead the team. They scored when we needed to. They defended when we needed to. They were really good rebounders. So getting better in all of those areas, and honestly, just trying to be more like them, more than I was last year.
Awesome. Coach Fortier, Allie, Ines, thank you for your time. I wish you well this year.
Thank you.
Is it Heidger?
Heidger.
Heidger. And Hernandez. Okay. All right. Welcome back to West Coast Conference Media Day. I'm Helen Williams with Calvin Wetzel, and we have LMU here today. We've got Aarika Hughes, we've got Carly Heidger, and we've got Maya Hernandez. So welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
Glad to have you here. Coach, excited for the season. Tell us about what your expectations are.
Yeah, I think right now with our group and just going through the process of getting to LMU,
I think we've seen a steady progress in our ability to compete. The expectation this year is for us to continue to move that needle. But what we're focused on in practice, we've all agreed to, is not to be an outcome-focused group, but also a process-driven group. So every day we're stacking days and we're having a whole lot of fun doing it.
Fun is important. Fun is important.
Coach, I wanted to ask, in terms of strengths and weaknesses and style of play and things like that, are there some ways that you see this year's team maybe being similar or different to last year's team?
I'd say we're similar or a little bit different than we were last year. Super different. I came in and I had the pleasure of sitting down with our president, my AD, and our SWA, and they asked me, what would be your vision for LMU basketball? And I said, to play fast. And if you look at our possessions, the last 4 years I've been here, it's trying to take care of basketball, but it hasn't been as quick and as fluid and flowing as I would have wanted it to be. The main focal point that I've always wanted to be depth that I believe basketball could be played at in the systems that I've been brought up in is going to be more intense. So a lot of high pressure, a lot of different looks. For us, I think we're excited about it. They've committed to it. It's going to be an identity that we're going to see moving forward.
So you got 8 transfers.
Yep. 6, yep.
So how does that work when you're recruiting to your philosophy and your system? What do you look for besides the obvious, skills?
Sure. Connection, interest. We ask a certain number of questions within that first touch point. I think it's really important for me to add to the culture that I know that the returners were carrying and that we all committed to. And those conversations in order of importance will really tell me, is this someone that could fit into what we already have in the spot that we're going to need, trying to replace some of the individuals that graduated from this last year.
Coach, one thing you mentioned a little bit ago was protecting the ball and not turning it over. And every year under you, your team has improved in terms of turnover rate from 328 to 33rd, so dramatically. Is that how much of an emphasis have you put on that? And now that you're wanting to play faster, how do you continue to still do that while still protecting the ball?
Yeah, it's a learning curve. I think there's days where we do well at it and there's days that we don't, but it's players. Coaches, we stay on the sidelines and we look like we're doing a lot, but when you recruit team synergy, you work on it every single day. You're consistent as someone that leads an organization. Nadia Evans, I can't say enough about her ability to play make last year and some of the shoes that people have to fill now by committee. I think we're starting to see them as October and November starts to hit. We're starting to see them also learn to work with Carly and with Maya and their other teammates. So ball security is going to be an important thing. Playing quick, but not in a hurry. I'm sure we've all heard that coin.
John Wooden?
In basketball from people much smarter than me. But yeah, I think also getting them to relax and just make the right basketball play. A lot more lax on offense, a lot more confidence. We have selfless kids that want to move the ball. They want to share the ball. Half the time, Carly's one where we have to beg her to shoot it. Maya, not so much. Not so much, Maya. But we do have some selfless players that I think are more than willing to share, make the right reads, and learn together.
So, Carly, I read your favorite player is Asia Wilson, which means you can't not shoot. What part of your game do you pattern after her? And then yours is Sabrina Ionescu. I'm going to ask you the same question.
I love Asia's aggressiveness. Obviously, I want to and she's great on offense.
Yeah, for me, Sabrina, I know her personally. I've been able to play with her and kind of see her game really up close and just see how she goes to the next play mentality and is able to keep shooting. If she misses one, she's going to keep going and has that mental strength to push forward even when things are not going her way.
And Coach, you talked a little bit about Nadia Evans and Brandy Williams. That's a lot of they both played close to 40 minutes a game.
Yeah.
On. And I know you kind of mentioned it's going to be by committee, but who are some players who step into a much bigger role this year?
Yeah, I think our focal point in the offseason, one, I want to say Ava Tone was a huge piece and heartbeat of our team. And Brandy and Nadia, you can't replace that core senior group that really brought consistent leadership connectivity. So replacing them is impossible. But now having someone step into that role and make it their own, Angela Matic, who is going to be a transfer from Duquesne, comes in with Olympic experience from Serbia. We also have a All-American junior college guard, Ivana. She's transferring in from Texas Tech, and then Jasenia Lawson, who I think is really gonna be a fun person to watch this season because just as much as she can score the basketball, she can defend. And she's 5. We probably list people at 5'6", 5'7". She's 5'6", and can rebound. I'm talking averaging 9 rebounds a game. It translated. We saw it in our first scrimmage the other day for grabbing 14. So those are 3 guards that have a ton of experience that come in and understand how to play basketball. Now it's just making sure that we have enough reps with these 2 and of course the other players we're returning and introducing to our program this year.
So you're saying that you're process oriented. How will you define whether or not you were successful at that? What's your definition of success?
Yeah, we every day after practice, I ask our group, and they're peer-driven. I think those are the best teams that I've ever watched, I've ever been a part of, I've ever coached. It normally leads to really good things, whether that's postseason in any arena. I ask them to rate themselves a 0 or a 1. It's a 3. And for us, culture is defined by tough, selfless, pride, and joy. And they understand that within those pillars, they have come up with specific standards that they hold each other to every day. So whatever we do on the basketball floor, as long as the organization is operating within those spaces, they know that there's not did we do it or did we not? And that's the growth piece that I want to ask them every day. Were we a 0? Were we a 1? Coaches are involved in that. They really own that. They talk about it constantly in timeouts and huddles. It's not coaches driving these conversations. It's young people also wanting to push, grow, but also build trust with one another with highlighting great plays just as much as critiquing.
Carly and then Maya, what is something that you have been working on over the offseason that you feel like you've added to your game headed into this game?
Definitely expanding my game beyond the arc. Being able to shoot the 3 and kind of expand the defense is something that I've definitely spent a lot of time on pouring into that.
And for me, it's just being more aggressive. My shot, every time I finish the ball.
The league is tough, obviously. You have
And I love it.
Quality coaches in the league too. You have a new 18-game schedule. So what are your thoughts on that?
I'm excited. I want to play the best, and the WCC has a unbelievable schedule. I mean, every night, every afternoon, you have to lace up your shoes and understand that it's going to be a dogfight. And when you're recruiting, you can sell that, and people can watch, and they can see the conference, how tight these games are, but also just the adjustments and spaces. I think for us, we can't wait. We're excited about it. I'm looking forward to going out there and, of course, competing and going toe-to-toe with some of the best.
We're looking forward to seeing you. Thank you, guys. Coach Hughes, Carly, Maya, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Good luck to you this year.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome back to the West Coast Conference Media Day. I'm Helen Williams with Calvin Wetzel, and we have Pepperdine here today. We got Coach Katie Faulkner, Lina Falk, and Ellie Guiney. Welcome, ladies. Welcome. Glad to have you here. Coach, talk to us about expectations for this year. I know you've been asked that 1,000 times, but it's always a good first question.
Yeah, I mean, we have, 12 new kids on our roster.
That's unbelievable.
And so, I just heard we're one of 2 teams in the country to have a completely different roster. So that's kind of fun. It's exciting and it's also terrifying, because you just have so many moving pieces that you got to find a way for them to come together. But that's coaching and that's a puzzle and that's the fun of it. So they've done a tremendous job. They're great kids. They all want this for reasons and they all want to go to work. They're entitled to nothing. They didn't commit to a banner or even a gym. They just committed to the process. And so, this is a team that's going to compete because we recruited a lot of winners, a lot of high character kids that want to work hard. And so when you couple that together with a great plan and just the process, I think by March it can be really dangerous.
What was obviously last year was your first year, and as a former head coach, you don't know what you don't know until you move over that 1 inch. But what did you learn about yourself and that you're going to carry into this year that helped you get these 12 players and that's going to help you be successful?
Oh, that is a great question. I think, it's one thing to say you're about the process, but man, when you get blown out by 20 or something, just what's the process look like then, right? And so I think I have a wonderful husband who's also a coach, who was able to kind of mentor me through some of those situations. But, I think the biggest thing is that I look at all these girls individually as far as like, who do they want to be by the end of the year? And so how can I help them daily and focus on those things? And yeah, I got to put it all together and I got to figure out what bus schedule we want, when we want to leave, what food and all these things too. That's what you didn't know of all those decisions to make. But at the end of the day, these are tremendous young women that have really high goals. And so how can we serve them, and just keep that at the forefront of our brains every day. And be a rock for them and consistent for them and to show up and still have a standard. And the standard is still the standard. And I'm not going to change the standard based on how you're doing today. But at the same time, how can I help and serve them where they're at? And so I think that's just my focus, and what I try to do to be.
Ellie and Lina, coming into a new team with all new players, haven't played together before, what have practices been like as you guys try to kind of establish that culture and chemistry and learn coaches' expectations and things like that?
I think a term we use a lot is problem solving. Like, that's how I would describe it. You have 12 people who are all trying to get on the same page and have nothing but the purest intentions and like the same goals. So sometimes we're all still trying to figure out like what the staff wants, what our individual roles need to be, but we're all working towards a common goal. And I think that's super productive and helpful, and just learning how to do that in the most effective way possible would be how I would describe practice right now.
Yeah, like we're all here, like Katie said, like we all want to build something. So we're like all hard workers. Like we're in the gym constantly asking for workouts, like getting extra shots up. And I feel like we all are want to have a great season.
So the second year in the league, what did you learn in the first year of the league, aside from the fact that it's a tough league?
Yeah, well coached. And you knew that to take the job. You're just looking at these people like, man, these are good coaches. So whatever they have, they're going to be able to make something great. So I know everyone's like, oh, the league looks different. I'm like, yeah, but there's coaches are still really good. So there's no off days, and nothing's easy. And so, I think right now we have girls that want to be great, right? And so a big part of our job is teaching them what it takes. And so this is what it takes. It takes what it takes, period. And so how to give what it takes every day in a conference that, the travel, the getting up, the next, you don't have time to hang your head. You don't have time to think. You have to just keep chipping away and getting better. And so, I've loved that about the Pac-12, and I was with the Pac-12 too. There's no bottom of the conference. It's every game you have to get for, and I think it's the same here. And so, I enjoy that though. It's a challenge, but it's fun. I think everyone brings their own kind of flair and identity too. So I've really loved kind of problem solving the puzzle.
Coach, you took 612 threes last year, one away from the program record. Assist rate was the highest for this program since the 90s. Like, obviously, those players aren't back, but you are. So, in terms of like that style, sharing it, shooting it, like, how important is that to your offensive philosophy?
Yeah. You know, you look at our team this year too. You know, we didn't go all in on 2 players, you know, and then find everyone and just stand in the corner and wait for them to make a play. You know, we recruited competitive basketball players, you know, that can understand the game and read the game and shoot the ball. And, you know, you throw out the term positionless, you know, maybe a little bit, but, you know, that is a huge part of what we want to do. And so you look at the most efficient teams in the country, you know, they move that ball, right? And they have a really high percentage from 3, but also from 2. And that comes from, you know, ball movement and sharing and making the right reads. So I think that's the funnest kind of basketball. It's hard to scout. It's not cookie cutter. And that's, you know, of course, where we want to head.
What are your thoughts on the 18-game schedule this year for the first time?
Oh, that's what we did in Pac-12. So that feels right at home for me.
Okay.
20 was a lot. You know, next year's gonna be wild with, you know, lesser. But you know, I think we have a tough go right after Christmas. You know, headed up to the Pacific Northwest right away. But you know, again, I think that we just have a group that, you know, they don't know any different. I don't know any different. So you know, one day at a time.
For both of you, is there a player, maybe WNBA, NBA, who you look up to or who you kind of model your game after or want to play like?
I don't really have like a specific role model. I'm just like, for me, like being from Germany, like Leonie Fiebig, Sachu Nyara Savali, like, or even Marie Gülich, like, you know. Like, I think they're like, I really look up to them just like in what they achieved. And like, even in summer, I could learn a little bit from Marie. And it's just really impressive, like how she approaches things. Yeah.
Being from Phoenix, I love Sophie Cunningham. She was with the Mercury. Like, she's a little pulverizing. I don't know if
She's
I have that
spicy. She's
role.
spicy.
Yeah,
You can say she's
you know,
spicy.
she is. She's spicy, but I think the way she can shoot the ball and play out of her shot, like her feet are set. She's ready to shoot the ball and shoot it well. And then that competitiveness and like fire, I love that about her. It's so fun to watch, and I admire that.
Coach, do you have specific milestones for where you want to be during your non-conference play leading up to your conference play?
Yeah, I think, you know, you want to see us from an offensive standpoint continue to grow, you know, that assist ratio continue to go up. You know, you always want to see, you know, we have a positive negatives, right? Like we always want more positives than negatives, obviously. But my main focus, obviously, offensively, but defensively, I want to see that just understanding and maybe identity really come out in this non-con, because you know, going into conference, you can't just rely on your shooting. You know, you have to be able to get stops. And so I'd love to see us make leaps in that. I think we have a variety of teams, you know, pressy teams, you know, zony teams on the road, teams at home. And so I think we'll be tested in many ways so that we have the experience, because that's what we need right now. We just need reps.
Yeah.
I mean, reps together, playing together. You know, we had a scrimmage and someone commented, they're like, oh, it's like the first time you play together. I'm like, well, it was, you know, so
From the players.
yeah. So, you know, I think, and then, you know, next year you have 8 returners. So it's a process, right?
Yeah.
But I think I'd like to just see that, you know, kind of click in those areas, and then now you can carry that over for conference.
So, Ellie, I hear that you're a Taylor Swift fan. I just want to know, is the album all that everybody says it is?
Honestly, I haven't like done a deep dive.
Okay.
And some of her music is like an acquired taste.
Okay.
I'm not the hugest fan. I'm not a hater of it. I just haven't. Honestly, I've been really focused on my anatomy exams.
That's an example.
That's a good that's answer with your coach sitting
Yeah.
here.
But sometimes there is some Taylor Swift on aux, so I can multitask in the
Okay.
gym while I'm shooting. I can kind of like get the vibes of the songs, but not too much. Yeah.
So the jury's still out. Okay. Ladies, thank you very much. We wish you well this season.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, we will be.
Okay.
There we go. Welcome back to the West Coast Conference Media Day. I'm Helen Williams with Calvin Wetzel, and we're here with Pepperdine. We've got Coach Bradley Davis. I'm sorry, Pacific.
all right,
Sorry,
not a
I
piece.
just got done with Pepperdine.
No worries.
Sorry, with Coach Bradley Davis and Daria Nestorov and Sydney Ward. How you guys doing?
I'm good.
I'm good too.
You look so happy. I like that.
Very happy the whole day. Yeah.
Coach, welcome. Can you talk about what your expectations are for this year?
It's we'll see. You know, it's a lot of new. We graduated quite a bit statistically, and then also leadership wise. And so when you have, even though we only have 6 new players, and we have 8 returning, there's still a lot of new roles being played. There's a lot of new leadership voices being heard, and so we're in that process of figuring out who we're going to be, and we are optimistic, but we still got to see it live in action and see if it works out.
When we talk about Pacific basketball, what words do you want to come to mind to people that know about your program?
I hope people hate playing us. I hope we outwork people, and I hope we have fun doing it, and I hope that's annoying.
That's good.
And one thing that I think can be annoying is forcing turnovers. You guys had the highest turnover rate forced this last year, and you're almost decade there. How much of an emphasis have you put on trying to be disruptive and be, like you said, annoying?
Yeah, and well, obviously there's an emphasis on the defensive end. I think this year we're trying to make sure we don't turn the ball over as much as we cause turnovers. So there's a little bit of focus on making sure we're playing under control at the same time. But yeah, we defensively we're going to get after it. We're going to change things up. We have people like the 2 to my left that create steals and shot blocks. They enjoy the defensive end of the floor and realize that can get us some easy offense.
So Daria, you played for Serbia this summer. What about that experience made you a better player, and what can you bring back to Pacific this year that's going to help the team?
I think because every new coach can teach you something, and I like small deals, but also I had a lot of games this summer, and I think just bringing back coming back with more confidence and more games, I think that can help me a lot. And also I had a big role in for this summer, so I think that helped me because now I need to step up to the biggest role than last year. So I think that's gonna help me a lot.
Sydney, I'll come to you, and Daria, you can answer too after if you want. Is there a professional player, WNBA, NBA, who you look up to or model your game after or try to play like?
I would say no, but I think I model after past teammates, I watch my teammates more than I watch any professional league, so I think I would learn more from them than watching. But
I like that.
I like Facundo Campazzo, if you know who's that. He's from Argentina. He played for Real Madrid. He's small point guard, so I was watching him my whole life, so I like him a lot.
So, Coach, this is a tough league. Obviously, you've been in it for a while. What's it going to take for you to be successful for you? How are you going to define what success will be?
I think there are going to be little moments throughout every single game that are going to really matter. And we can't have lapses in the game. You've got to be able to respond quickly when another team makes a run or when the momentum doesn't go your way, because I do think there's going to be a lot of close games. And so minimizing those stretches of negative play or bad play or good play by the opponent are going to be really key this year.
Coach, I want to circle back to something you said off the top about kind of graduating some of that production. You had 3 main players last year where your scoring came from, and statistically, those 3 are gone. So where does that production come from this year offensively? Who kind of steps into a new role?
It'll be interesting to see, right? Because we can, in practice, everybody's scoring and we're playing against each other. And so it'll be really interesting to see as we get the lineups together how that evolves. And, we do, expect some inside play from Marina and from Winter, and then we expect some perimeter play from Daria and Stella and some of our shooters. But, it'll be interesting to see how it shapes up when we actually get on the floor against opponents, where that chemistry lies. And that's going to be a process, to be honest with you. We have 11 of our first 14 games are at home. So we get to have that process at home, which will be comfortable, but it's still going to be a little bit of a process throughout the year.
So we're in a new athletic era, if you will. You've been coaching for a minute, and you've obviously been at Pacific for a while. How have you grown and adapted to all these changes?
I'd say somewhat okay and somewhat not okay. I think I still want to have, I was a high school English teacher for 10 years before just getting into coaching. I got into coaching because I love teaching. I love watching the growth of our players. And I like the student athlete aspect. So, when players like Sydney graduate from go to the same school for 4 years, and she's going to get a degree in biology, and she's going to go on to med school, not next year, but after a gap year. That part makes me just as proud as watching 3 players graduate last year, 4 years, and go on to play professionally. So I want to continue to have student athletes that want to be in one place, major in what they want to major in, be it engineering or biology, and not have to transfer and cut down to something they didn't necessarily want to major in. So yes, I've adjusted, and we have transfers and we get transfers, but we're still trying to keep the model of student athlete collegiate sports in mind.
And for the two of you, are there any areas that when it comes to practice so far that you want to, or that you have seen the team maybe improve upon from last season's team?
I think rotations on defense is definitely something that I've seen improvements on already. Granted, it still does need work, but I think it's already improved from last year.
Probably defense too, but I don't know. I don't know, honestly. I'm thinking. I know. I think we're gonna be a shooting team. Like we have always 30 minutes after at the beginning of the practice we have shooting drills, and I think that's helping us to have a better shooting percentage.
Those good answers, Coach.
Yeah, not bad. It's it's hard to see, right, when you haven't played somebody else.
Yeah.
So I was just saying this. It's hard to know if did we create a turnover? Or did we just turn it over because you're playing against your own team? So
that's a good point.
Was it good defense or was it bad offense or vice versa? You don't know yet until we're playing somebody else. But I think both answers are absolutely correct. I think our defensive rotations are looking better. The energy and the intensity with how we're going about it, and I think our players are buying into the fact that all right, let's work on our skills and become better shooters and become better in the stat line. We want those percentages to be higher this year.
Are you going to have to make any adjustments now with the new 18-game schedule to how you do things?
I don't know yet. I mean, we have our buys are a little bit different. There's on Saturdays, and so yeah, that part that stressed me out. How do I coach that? When you practice Monday through Wednesday, and then you play on Thursday, you have nothing again until Thursday. So those 2 weeks have stressed me out a little bit, but we'll see. I think as December goes, how all these teams that have so much new, how it shakes down and what everybody looks like, going into conference.
When it comes to this year's newcomers, what are they going to bring to the team, and what can fans expect from them?
Well, we have some experience in Winter and Hannah. Winter, obviously we lost a big presence in Ms. Elliott, and so having somebody like Winter inside is going to be big, and we need that. And then having point guard play, backup point guard play and consistent point guard play from both Hannah and Daria is going to be key. We graduated 2 point guards, and Daria's got a chance to learn from Hannah coming in with graduate experience and 4 years of experience. We're going to need that instantly. But then I think our freshmen have really stepped up and just stepped right in really easily into, or not easily, but effectively into the intensity that we want, the energy we want, the effort that we want. They've done a really good job of doing that. So they've kept the bar pretty high for all of us.
I'll ask all 3 of you this. When you hear West Coast Conference, what one word comes to mind?
Compete.
Fun.
It's your parody.
Good answer. Thank you guys. We appreciate it. Good luck to you. Dr. Ward, good luck to you. Coach Davis.
Thank you,
And
guys.
Daria, thank you very much. Good luck to you this season.
Thanks. Appreciate
Thank you.
All right, welcome back to West Coast Conference Media Day. I'm Helen Williams. This is Calvin Wetzel. We've got Coach Skylar Young here. We've got Tamia Strickland here, and we've got Ella Brubaker. So welcome to the league. I'm sure you've heard that a lot. What are your first thoughts about being in the new league?
It's a great opportunity. It's great to be a part of Seattle University returning back to the WCC. Just personally, being in the WCC before as an assistant, it's great to be in this league and just ushering in Seattle U women's basketball into such a competitive, well-known league across the country.
And Ella, you obviously have experience as a grad transfer experience in this league from Pepperdine. Like, how important is it for you to kind of be a voice and be a leader for this team?
Yeah, I think I've definitely tried to step into that role of being a leader for the younger girls, and obviously having some experience and knowing, what to expect at that time of the season. But yeah, I'm really just excited for just another go around in this amazing conference, and hopefully finish on the best year yet.
Because you had in a league where they sent 6 teams to the postseason tournament last year, so it's a very challenging league. I'm sure you're looking forward to that. What is it that you feel is most important to prepare your team to compete in this league?
Just what you just said, just a competitive spirit and just having that grit and toughness. And we have that in our culture. Just, compete and consistency. That's the biggest thing in this league. You got to be consistent, because every single night consistently you're going to get playing against the best talent on the West Coast. And I think with us, a big thing is going 1% at a time. One day, it's a process. It's a big, long journey. We're not going to get zapped to somewhere. Just day by day, are we getting better every single day and being the best version we can become? And that will help us just compete in such a great conference.
Coach, your team last year had the highest three-point rate in a decade and a half. Obviously, play kind of an up-tempo style. Like, how important is pace and space to what you're trying to do on the offensive end?
Well, it's still the keys to our offense. Pace, patience, and voice. That's what we try to base it on. We do want to play fast, and we do like shooting threes, but we want to take the great shots, not just the good shots. And another thing that also helped us this year is we have more paint presence as well, which will help stretch the floor and ease us off of having to rely on the three-point shot so much. I think that will help us offensively. But, honestly, this summer and this offseason, I think we really hung our hat on our defensive stuff, which people will be like, oh no, you never talk about defense, but really this the way we want to play offensively. Transition defense has been a priority to us, and going into this league, it's a lot of high-powered teams that like pushing the pace. So I think we worked on it, and that's something we hung our hat on. We're pretty good at transition defense, trying to control the tempo.
How have you prepared yourself to enter this league as a coach and getting your team ready?
Just using my experience as assistant before at Portland for 5 years, with Coach Michael Meek and that program. Just knowing the day-by-day grind and it takes. And then as a head coach, just walking in, seizing the moment, embracing the opportunity, not putting no pressure. There's no such thing as pressure when you're sure of yourself. Going in there just trying to be the best version I can be for this team, give this team what they need. At the end of the day, we set the blueprint, but the players are going to play and compete in the game. So get them confident, ready to compete, and know that I believe in them, that they're able to perform. So it really has nothing to do with me and what I'm in. I got to be that calm, cool, collected, that I'm not nervous or worried about anything. We prepared them well, that they feel like they can go do their jobs properly.
To me, I'll come to you, a little bit of a fun one, and Ella can take this after too if you want. Is there a professional player, maybe WNBA or NBA, who you look up to or model your game after or try to play like?
I would say mine was Skylar Diggins, just because she was a lefty, and I think at a time when I was younger, I was like a little insecure to be right-handed, but I think she's made me grow into her skin of feeling like confident as a lefty, which I now love being.
I'll go with the hometown. Well, I guess she's not the team anymore, but Brianna Stewart. She was on the Storm. I'm like, that doesn't work. But I definitely love her game. I think she kind of reminds me of like a female like Kevin Durant. She's awesome. Just a little bit of everything. So love her game.
Awesome. And what do you two are going to bring to the team this year that's going to make the team successful being transfers?
Yeah, I think just working hard every day, my kind of like motto for the season is just finish well. So finish on the best note possible. But my style of play, I like to push the pace, get out in transition, try to just score at all 3 levels, and just do kind of all the little things, whatever it takes to win.
I would definitely say my experience, try to use that to my advantage, being my 4th year here. I think that can help me in going into this conference as well. And then also just being a dynamic forward, being able to drive it, shoot it as well, post up. So a little bit of everything.
Is that good, Coach? You happy with that?
I'm so pleased.
Coach, when it comes to the returners, are there any players who you look at who really kind of put in that work over the offseason, expanded their game, who are kind of poised to take a big leap headed into this year?
As far as returners, we had 3, but all of them actually. Tania definitely put in a lot of work in the weight room and just getting healthy and their shot and everything. But Sydney Rodriguez really took a big stride, especially physicality wise. As a freshman, she started every game, so it was a lot. She went through a lot of emotions, like, oh my gosh. And she really came back, bigger, faster, stronger. There's no doubt about it. She took the next step. And even Lucy Larson, who didn't play a lot, just dialing into the culture and the expectations of the program, knowing everything we do offensively and defensively, because we do have a smaller roster. I always tell them, like, everybody, don't get ready, stay ready, because you never know when that moment's called. And I feel like Lucy has done that this offseason. I mean, she walked in my office and said, I'm going to be able to play next year. And then right now she is, she's playing towards that where her goal is that we need everybody to play. So all the returners bought in, which I think with the newcomers coming in, is set a standard already without me saying it. I always talk about standards, with them knowing the expectations of how things roll. Just all the returners being on those standards help the newcomers understand how it goes. I'm proud of them.
What's going to be your definition of success for this year?
Since I'm to the team in the first thing, so I won't say a total definition, but I say why. I know where we picked at, I know where we are, but honestly, been in this position before, and it's just stay in the process and trying to be the best version of ourselves at the end of the year. That the last time we walk off the court together, our group can look at each other and say, we opened the eyes of the West Coast Conference and our West Coast. And we were one of the best women's basketball teams in Seattle in history. The definition is successful.
I like it. Coach Young, Tamia, Ella, thank you very much. I wish you well this year. And thank you all for listening to our West Coast Conference Media Day. Make sure you go and watch these teams play. It's going to be a great season.